In this video, I'm going to go over Airbnb new fee structure rollout in 2026. We're going to go over the previous rollout in 2025 and what it meant for the not just for the individual hosts, but for the market as well. Then I'm going to go over the strategies that the hosts have to start implementing as the market reality changes. So this video is going to be simplified to explain the concept and also lay the groundwork for us to make predictions of what is more likely to happen in the market. Let's go back to 2024 when Airbnb was charging 3% from hosts and they were collecting 14 to 16% from guests. In order to simplify it, we're just going to say 15%. So what that means is back in 2024, the guest would see a $1,000 listing and Airbnb would charge a guest $150 fee. So the guest would pay total $1,150. And since the Airbnb was charging host 3%, the total payout for a $1,000 listing would be $970. So far, so good. But as the market evolved, hosts began to use multiple platforms. And in order to sync the calendars, they began to use property management system software, PMS for short. In 2025, Airbnb decided to roll out new fee structure, where hosts who were using property management system software would pay 15% and the guest would pay 0%, while the manual host will remain on the old fee structure, which was 3% host fee and approximately 15% guest fee. And under this new fee structure, the Airbnb was collecting 15% from hosts who were using property management system software and 0% from the guest. So the $1,000 listing and booking price meant that the host who was using property management system software would be getting a payout of $850. So essentially for the host who were using property management system software, this was a $120 loss under the new system. So the most logical action for hosts who were using property management system software at that time was to raise the prices to $1,150. But since there was so much confusion among hosts using property management system software, they did what most people do when they're confused. They did nothing. Instead of raising prices to $1,150, the listing price remained the same and essentially became a booking price. As a result, the dynamic pricing software read the property management system software listings at $850. As a result, the hosts who were using Airbnb native app were recommended to lower the price to $850 to compete with a $1,000 booking. Because remember, the guests still had to pay 15% booking fee to Airbnb when they were booking through a host who was not using property management system software. Do you see how confusing that is? And this is the core problem with this entire rollout. Think about it from this perspective. The hosts who were using property management system software failed to log in into their apps and increase the price. As a result, the hosts who were not using property management system software had to log in and lower their prices. And regardless of how Airbnb tells you they charge, who they charge at what point, the bottom line is the price dropped to $1,000 for a booking for a guest, and hosts who were using native Airbnb app or the hosts who were using property management system software were now getting paid $850. At this point, that spillover went over the entire marketplace. Now, VRBO, Booking, and other sites had to lower their booking and listing prices to match what Airbnb was now charging the guests. We're not going to go over who won here and who lost. We're not going to go over by how much stock prices went up when the property owners had to face the inflation pressures. At the same time, the Airbnb payout was getting lower. What you need to know now is that Airbnb is rolling out the same fee structure now across this entire platform, regardless if you're using property management system software or not. And since Airbnb has approximately 4 million hosts globally, and if we're looking at the rollout that happened in 2025, I expect exact same issues to resurface during this fee rollout. What you have to remember is that you have options. Airbnb is just one of the channels. You have to stop calling yourself a host. You are a short-term rental operator. We have exact same example from drivers. They don't just drive for Uber, they also do it for Lyft, and now they deliver for DoorDash. Another thing to remember is that this is not just a website you go to. This is a marketplace. You have to start thinking about those short-term rental websites just like Google search pages. You have to optimize not just your listing, but how you operate. At this point, we do not know what algorithms short term rental marketplaces use, but it is a good rule of thumb to remember that you have to reply to guests within 15 seconds, activate instant booking. If you're trying to pre approve the guests before they check in, that creates friction. Therefore, your visibility is going to go down. And the most important part to remember, you have to maintain your 5-star status. At this point, you have to run your properties just like a hotel. Another thing to remember, don't try to get rid of property management system software. It is your friend. Again, you have to start looking at yourself as a short term rental operator who is using modern software tools to help you manage your property, from housekeeping scheduling to maintenance coordination. It's no longer just guest operations. It has to be a full life cycle of a property. The good news, the domestic travel in US is expected to go up as the geopolitical instability is keep going up. Another fun fact to remember, nearly half of vacation guests return. Therefore, do not use expensive marketplaces to book repeat visits. Provide QR codes throughout your property to direct return guests to book directly. And if you are looking for a full service short-term rental property management company, check out bookdirect.click as they offer 10% commission. As Airbnb is rolling out its fee structure in 2026, I advise you to stay informed, independent, and stay profitable. And if you need assistance with setting up your property with property management system software, I'm known as 484 Operator. Have a good day.